This is something I never thought we'd actually see for NASCAR Racing 2003. This is an updated Whelen Modified Series mod for the sim. There's been a Whelen Modified Series mod for NASCAR 2003 for years. It came out, I think, in 2007 or 8, around that time anyway, from the SI Modified group, which was a dedicated group of folks that loved modified racing. It's a type of racing that we have up here in New England in the United States, or actually really the whole East Coast. And it used to be very prevalent throughout the South as well, but less so these days, mostly in the Northeast, although there is a kind of a comeback in the Southeast. And it's these open wheel cars that used to be based off of actual stock cars that were all chopped, and they really had no rules to them. So it was the division of NASCAR where you could take your car and do whatever you want to it, hence the modified name. And they built these cars, and over time they've evolved, and they're specialty built race cars now that really resemble like nothing you've seen before, but they are the coolest looking cars. And I know when I first started going to racetracks as a kid in New England, you'd see these cars and they're the ones that you loved. And ever since then, these are some of the race cars that I love going to see the most. They race everywhere in New England here at Stafford, Thompson, New Hampshire Motor Speedway, a bunch of different short tracks, and I try to catch them at least a half dozen times a summer. So naturally, over the years with racing sims, it's something that I've always really liked racing and just recreating a bit what I saw. And there hasn't always been good ways to do that, especially back in the older days. I've been playing a lot of NASCAR 2 and the older Papyrus sims, and there were always mods or car sets and painted cars to kind of make them look like this, but they were always done over stock bodies and things. So it was always kind of a dream to have a real modified in one of these games. And these days we have that, right? You've got iRacing that's got a great rendition of NASCAR style modifieds, both tour types and the SKs, which are lower horsepowered ones. And going back in time a bit, we did have a mod for NASCAR 2003. I think in 2008 or 2009, the SI Modified group put out their NASCAR Modified mod. But for as good and groundbreaking the original Modified mod for NASCAR 2003 was, I was always hoping that it maybe was a V1 of sorts, and that we'd get an updated version at some point that had maybe a little more accurate car shapes, especially in the tires and things. And over the years, as new body styles and stuff have come out for NASCAR style modifieds, the mod itself is a little bit of its time. It has some of the older body styles and things like that. I really never thought that we'd actually see something new come out. We're sitting here 21 years after NASCAR 2003 originally came out, and there's some modders still out there, but naturally they focus on the modern top-level NASCAR series. And so to make a brand new mod for something that's really a regional series or one of the smaller divisions in NASCAR is very surprising to me, but I'm so happy it's done. And so this is the 2023 modified mod for NASCAR Racing 2003 that's been put together by DMR Concept and Ground Pounder Designs. These cars' nickname is the Ground Pounders because if you see them, you will realize how much they shake the earth as they roll by. So Ground Pounder is a perfect name for it. And Ground Pounder Designs is a group that paints cars for the original mod. They've done, I think, every year of NASCAR Modified Racing since 2005 or 6 when the original mod came out. And they put out car sets every year for the official Whelen Modified Tour and some of the other touring series and the Southern Modifieds, and you could race any car that you want from the last 15 years of modified racing, most likely from stuff that they've made. And they also partner with other groups, Project Short Tracker. It's a lot of the same people involved, but Project Short Track is building lots of the tracks that are raced by these cars up here in New England and throughout the country as well. But tracks that you would never see in games like iRacing and things like that. These small speedways like Seekonk Speedway or Star Speedway in New Hampshire. These tracks that I know, and maybe some of you, if you're from around here, have been to and seen, but they're not national level circuits and things. So there's a dedicated modding group that really loves this type of racing. I know some of the folks that are in that group participate in crews or go to many of the races and things, and they just really have a passion for this type of racing, and they like NASCAR 2003 as a simulator to simulate it, and I agree with them. It's a ton of fun to race these kind of looking cars in a game like this, set up your own races, your own championships and things. And so I was so surprised and so excited, honestly, when I saw this pop up last night while just scrolling that a complete mod was finished. It wasn't an announcement that it's coming soon or anything like that. It's done. It's out. You could download it right now. And I wanted to pull it into free cam here to take a closer look before I jump into a quick race, just because it is, I'm very impressed by how well they've modeled these cars and how good it looks in NASCAR 2003. If you're coming from the world of modern sims and iRacing and things, we're working with something very different here with NASCAR 2003, and you really have to compare it to what else is available in this sim, like the old version of this mod or even the other mods that exist here. And there's some great mods for NASCAR 2003, and I don't want this video to be a slam on the original mod because it was very impressive for its time, but this looks very accurate to what these cars look like, and I know NASCAR 2003 is not an easy sim to make mods for, and so the fact that they've got the proportions pretty correct, they've got the tires and everything looking so realistic compared to the old ones, and overall it looks really, really good in the sim here. I'm very, very impressed. There's a ton of detail in the mod, and I was looking at the templates. Almost everything is paintable, which is honestly what I kind of expected from this group, because they love putting all the little details into these cars and painting different parts of them, like making sure the springs and the shocks and the suspension and the fuel cells and roll bars are all the right color for the individual paint scheme, and all of that stuff is paintable and customizable. We're looking at a Teddy Christopher, I guess you'd call it a tribute, but it's really a pretty accurate rendition for his, I think, like 2001 car, that the Mystique racing car, which was very, it's an interesting story if you ever want something to read about, but Mystique Racing was quite the story. But a really, really nice paint scheme and car here, sitting at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, where we're going to do a quick little race. And in this mod, so there's 4 different models that are included, like most NASCAR 2003 mods. 4 different models, though, that represent the different modern chassis, the Troyers, the LFRs, and I think there's some differences in some of the paneling. If you see here on the I guess it would be the left front for the driver, the Lexan panel that goes over the roll bar there so that you can actually see into the tight corners. Some of the cars have that, some don't, so you can actually model that now, and it's see-through and everything, which is very, very cool. The mod also comes with 40 paint schemes for real-life cars, 20 for the Whelen Modified Tour and 20 for the Smart Modified Tour, and I think it's a very short amount of time until a lot more cars are going to be painted for this, I'd imagine. It also has a ton of retro paint schemes. I think this is one of them, but there's a lot of paint schemes that are themed off of old Winston Cup drivers and stuff, which is very cool to see. And a custom pace car and all that fun stuff. But DMR is one of those mod groups that made mods for a lot of years, and I don't think I'd seen anything from them somewhat recently, but they were one of the groups that made some of the best looking mods, and I'm so happy that the Ground Pounder group was able to work with DMR on something like this, and respect for following something that you're passionate in and pulling together the right folks to make it happen. So we'll roll out of the pits here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway for a 20-lap race in the modifieds. It should be a furious sprint, I would think, in these things. But look at the cockpit in this car. It's so well detailed and lines up really well with the real life thing. It's impressive. Every bit of this mod, I'm going to say it a lot, but it's just very impressive for NASCAR 2003, but just in general, the detail and things in this. But we'll try to do the best I can here to get up towards the front. I've not raced NASCAR 2003 too much recently, so I'm a little rusty.
Coming to the green, buddy. Coming to the green.
But it should be good fun anyway. Racing in a modified around here is always really interesting. We'll come around to get the green flag.
Be ready. Green flag, green
Right, there it is. A little bit of wheel spin. Bad start there for me, but we'll get it up into second gear and away we go. Into the corner. In real life, they run restrictor plates with these cars around New Hampshire Motor Speedway so that they don't go too fast, and it creates basically a pack race. The amount of grip these cars have and the size of this track means that they can go very, very fast, and it turns into a bit of a drafting race like you see at a Talladega or Daytona. Let's see if we can get around at least a couple of the rear enders here. And I worked for a long time to try to get the AI to behave like that. And I'm just using the stuff I had set up last when I was last doing this, and it seems to work pretty well. We'll slip underneath the 26 there. You see, we run pretty far up the track, and that's how they do it in real life too. The bottom of the track is a bit flatter, and it also just has a little less grip, so you end up with a lot of the cars running right at the high line here, the third lane up. All right, we'll sneak around the 26 though. Oh, these three in front go three wide. Break loose a little bit on the exit of the corner there. See if we can take the high line around, right on the edge of it. There's not a lot of grip once you get above this darker stuff. There we go. Right on the outside of John McKennedy. The paint schemes in this are incredible. The group that has made this mod, we got three wide, I think the Mystic Missile on the bottom side there. Whoa, a bunch of wheel spin there coming off the corner. The group that makes this mod, like I said, are involved with real-life modified racing, either from crews or they go to the races and things. So they get a lot of pictures and close-ups with the cars that they're able to really paint them exactly like they are in real life. And to have models now that really show off that work is very cool, because I know how much work they put into all the paint schemes and things. And they really do look the part. It's just really neat to race a NASCAR 2003 with very accurate looking tour type modifieds. Alright, really shot it into the corner there. We're still hanging out 2-3 wide, but it's very accurate for the type of racing that you see at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Got Ken Hege on the inside there. The two in front get a bit high. I don't think we want to go 4 wide. Oh, a car on the outside hits the wall. That was the Mets car. Try him up the middle. I just got to get around some of these cars. I can see the front runners are already pulling away a little bit. Sneaking behind Sapienza here, give him a little bump. They do a lot of bump drafting with the Nerf bars in real life as well. And especially towards the end of the race, the bump and run. Oh, there's a crash in front. All right. Oh, avoided that one. All right, so we just got the one to green, so we'll go green next time by, just about halfway into the race. So we'll be starting lap 11 and sitting 26th, so I got some work to do here to get up from the front. But I think the comparison is going to be drawn straight away from people that do a lot of iRacing and do the modifieds there. This is, in my mind, is a very different thing. I think offline racing in NR 2003, I don't know why I prefer it to offline racing in iRacing. I've done quite a bit of that. I made a video about it with the modifieds and everything. But I still love coming back to NR 2003 to do offline seasons and things. And so, I don't know. You can have both in my mind, and it's just so cool to see all the cars like this. It's very exciting. All right, let's try to get a better start this time.
Green.
All right, green. Still a bit of wheel spin there. It's so hard to get on the gas. Whoa, get onto the front stretch. Yeah, I'm just gonna get overtaken here. Spun the tires again. I gotta work on my starts. All right, we'll jump into the corner though and see if we can get this back.
Still there.
Hopefully it sticks on the low side there. Just ride that seam.
Still there.
All right, whoa, out of the corner. Bit of wheel spin again. These two are gonna push themselves by. We're gonna be racing for last place in this, but it's all about the fun anyway. It's really tough to get the run off the corner on the low side here, so that's why the high line just is a bit better, but I'm going to be able to slide in behind Sapienza here on the high side. All right, we'll try to follow him through. All right, side by side as we'll head into the corner. We can shoot it a bit deeper and kind of scoop and take his line away. Let the car's grip run up. There we go. Cleared him. You can slide up into that line and run it off the corner. There we go. Back up in the front stretch. We'll see if I can make up this little gap to Hege in front, but not too many more laps to go. another crash on the front stretch. Big crash. Just avoided that. Hirschman nailed whoever was stopped there on the front stretch. Whoa. All right. It's not going to leave us too many laps to go before we get the green again. But hopefully I can get a better restart on this next one and have a good finish here. All right, we get the one to go. We're only going to have, I think, 3 laps left for the end of the race, so it'll be a little sprint right at the end. I guess for a 20-lap race, you could expect there to be a lot of chaos, so maybe it's not too inaccurate, but I got to do a tweaking on a couple things, maybe to get the AI to behave a bit better. We'll try to do, I've been practicing my restart acceleration here under yellow, and I might try to get into second gear a little quicker so that I don't spin the tires as much, and hopefully I can hang on to Higi here in front, because I think I can at least pass a couple more of these guys. We're sitting 23rd right now, so let's see if I can get into the top 20 for the end of the race here. And I think a green-white checker finish is not so uncommon for the modifieds at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, so maybe it's fitting. I think we'll have 1 extra lap. No, it'll be a green-white checkered, actually, so perfect. Very realistic, just as I planned. All right, we got it in first gear. We'll try to get up to second pretty much right away to help that wheel spin.
Be ready. Green, green, green.
All right, there it is. Green, up into second gear. Oh, it still wants to break away from me. The missile's coming up behind me. I'm able to hold him off. I lose Higi in front. All right, 2 to go. Dive it into the corner. Try to use up all the grip in the tires. We don't have to save anything now. Terrible start. I got to work on my restarts. But Catalano on the high side. These two are too wide in front. Let's see if we can sneak up the middle. I've got a lot of grip. I was thinking I'd be able to make it up into the top 10 here. So we'll sneak through the middle there, side by side. Oh, car's still down there on the inside. We'll sneak underneath Catalano as well. Get onto the back straightaway on the final lap now. I think I'm going to be 1 position short to get into that top 20 unless we can get Kraus here, but we're very fast compared to him. Dive it up the inside. Use the brakes to help turn. You got really far rearward brake bias here, but scoop the low side, come out of the 4th corner. Whoa, light him up a little bit. Get it across the line. Did I get it? 20th. You can make anything feel like a win if you plan for it and make it your goal. That was fun. A bit of a short race. I wish a little bit more of that was under the green flag, but I really just wanted to show this off. It's one of those scenarios where last night I saw this pop online at like 11 p.m. when I was scrolling through stuff and immediately had to install it and stayed up way too late trying it out. And just wanted to let more people know that it exists. And big applause to Ben and Bill and Mike and JR and Dennis and anybody else that was involved in putting this together, both for the mod, but also all the work they do with the paint schemes and the other short tracks and stuff that they do for NASCAR 2003. It is absolutely a passion project. Things like this have to be a passion project, and I'm happy somebody out there has the passion for this stuff and puts things like this together. So thank you for watching. I think I'll probably play around with this quite a bit more and maybe do another video at some point with it. But until then, this is GP Laps, and I'll see you all again next time.